praying this works. It says we're streaming. Give me just 1 second just to double check. Let me look. I've had computer issues today. So I'm praying this works. It looks like we are live. So many of you voted that you wanted to learn how to make the Christmas ribbon wreath. And so I thought I would show you how to do that today. Most of you wanted traditional. So traditional Christmas colors, red, white, gold, silver, green. Somewhere in there kind of feels like traditional Christmas. So that's what we are doing today. I'm going to walk you through all the steps so you know how to do it, the easiest way to do it. I have not put this up for sale because I don't know all the things that we're going to put into it. So that should be forthcoming today, later today. Also, if you want to be notified when I go live, make sure you have liked this Facebook page and you are following the Facebook page. Like is easy enough. It's the follow that's hard to find because there's no real definitive follow button. But if you open those 3 little dots, it'll open up a smaller sub menu, and then you can go ahead and pick your notification preferences of when you'd like to be notified. And you have to do that on every page that you want to set up notifications on via Facebook. If you're on YouTube, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel. Simple enough to save a copy of this video. If you're on Facebook, you want to hit the share. That does a quick copy paste from my page to your page. And then you'll need to download that within 30 days. Make sure that you have downloaded it and set it aside somewhere. It's not sitting in a download file. Because Facebook no longer stores our videos longer than 30 days. You can always go over to YouTube, however, and you can go ahead and just click save and you will have a copy of this video. So, hi Darlene, hi Kim, hi Heidi. Yeah, my computer was being really weird. It's like I turned it on and the screen just kept doing this. It'd blink on, blink off, blink on, blink off. It was like, this is not the kind of Christmas lights I want to see today. So let me go ahead and jot down a couple comments for you guys as far as information goes. If you'd like to be on my email newsletter, you can do that at KatsCreationsNMore.com. Also, the Made for More rebrand of the private group, which is focusing on more content, not more quantity. We're not doing more. We're focusing on what we have with greater intention so that people can actually accomplish what they want to do before we go ahead and move on to the next design. You're still getting your design tutorials and all of this stuff. Head on over to KatsCreationsNMore.com. Click on that. It'll give you a full list of all the benefits. And what else did I want to share? Oh, you can join the private group right now for $1 for the first 2 weeks. And then after that, it'll automatically default to $27 a month. That ends on November 1st. So through tomorrow. So if you guys want to come join, check it out for $1. And then if you want to continue, don't do anything different. The system will automatically bill you until you decide to stop. That is all under your control. Okay, I think I've covered all the housekeeping stuff. I'm going to go ahead and pivot you down. We're going to talk all the stuff. Let's see, make sure everything is right on the money. My husband just readjusted stuff because I was like, I hate that you see so much stuff that isn't relevant. So, Heidi, did you get your ribbon in the mail? I have not yet received anything. And we've already gotten our mail today. It comes in the morning. So crossing my fingers, maybe tomorrow. I'm super excited about that. Let's see what else. Let me go ahead and pull comments up here. I just got a notification that our coffee shop is extending their hours tomorrow so that they can provide warm beverages because it's supposed to rain here tomorrow for all the local kids. So they're extending their hours. So I'm super excited about that for them. Okay. Go. I'm like, go. Everything is a little slower than I'd like to see today. Okay. We are all here. That for them. There we go. Turning all that way down. Alrighty. Things you will need. You will need, it's a 15.5 or 15.5 inch. This is what's called the large flower board. It's the Unique in the Creek board, so it measures 15.5 inches. You will need one of these. You can get them from Craft LA. You can get them from a lot of the other wreath suppliers. You can also order it. They're uniqueinthecreek.com. And I think you can order them on Amazon, but you have to order them in larger quantities. I think like they have a bulk one that's like 5 or 10 at a time. So it just depends on how frequently you're going to use the boards. So all you need is this. And then depending upon what your color combinations are, you will need 2.5 inch rolls of ribbon and 2.5 inch rolls of ribbon. The colors that I have selected, and I just ran out of the one, is we're going to do, you guys wanted traditional, so we're going to do the traditional Christmas plaid. We're going with a darker color palette, so more like an emerald, like deep forest green, and then it's a darker red with threads of cream and gold in it. Then we are pairing that with my favorite ribbon. I just made a whole bunch of ribbon angels with these. Is this embossed? It's so pretty, you guys. It's so thick and so velvety, but it's got like an embossed print to it. It's so nice. Craft Outlet, 50-yard spool. So that is the 2.5 inch. This one with the Christmas plaid is from Joann's, but you can get this from every single supplier. It just depends on what color palette you like. So I'm using this one because I had a ton of it left. And then I'm going to pair that with like a cranberry 1.5 inch. And then I had just enough to finish this. We're doing the forest green with a white stitching. So this is going to be the 2.5 inch. All of your pieces will be cut to 12 inches, all of them. So depending upon how you want to lay your design out on your board, you will know roughly how many pieces you will need, because you might decide to mix yours up a little bit more than I am. I'm trying to keep it very subdued because our sign, where did I put my sign, is an 8 inch round, which works out perfectly. We are doing this delightful Santa, which has been a favorite of mine. This is available at Personalize It by Pam on Etsy. 9 inch round works ideal. 10 inch is going to be too big, and anything smaller than that, we'll look at some sign options just to give you some options if you have signs laying around and you're like, oh, I wonder if that would work with a square sign or a rectangle shaped sign. So we're going to look at a couple of those. So how you're going to lay out your board is super simple. So on the Unique in the Creek board, they are labeled on the rows. And I think the labels are on the inside. It is. So starting on the outside with the holes, this is row 1. The only thing we're putting on row 1 is our hanger. So we're going to put that on there. Then we move down to row number 2. Sometimes it's easier to see it here on the back side. On row number 2, we are using all of the holes that are punched really close together, and we're also using what they call shared holes. So we're going to be doing fatter spacing. That's going to be for our 2.5 inch, and then we're using the smaller ones for our 1.5 inch. So we're using every set of holes. So put your pipe cleaners on, or pipe cleaners, zip ties on the 2 individuals. Do all that all the way around, and then you're going to do it to the shared holes in between so that you have room for your 2.5 inch. And I think with that, let's see, I'm looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So you will have 16 spaces for your 1.5-inch ribbon, and you will have 16 spaces for your 2.5-inch ribbon. Since we are doing 2 different colors on the outside, I will be doing 8 of each. So alternating the colors. Then on row number 3, which is coming into the middle, all we are doing is the smaller little holes here. So we are not doing shared spacing. So just wherever the holes are the closest, that is what we're doing. There is only 8 of them. And then as we move to row number 4, we are doing the 2 that are closest together and then the shared. So, and then we're not doing anything on row 4, or I'm sorry, row 5, and then I guess row 6 would be the 2 in the center. So we're just wiring together row 2, row 3, and row 4. So, do you guys have any questions? Janie says, are you still live on YouTube? I am pulling back a little bit on YouTube because they're doing some weird stuff with the lives. And they're putting lives in a separate tab and people are not finding them. Which means that my views have dropped by like 60% because people don't know where the videos are. So there's, I guess, a live tab and then there's a video tab. Which, why wouldn't you just put them all in one? A lot of people just have been assuming that I am not live on YouTube anymore because they're not looking at that secondary tab. So it's easier for me to go back to the way it was so that everyone can find my information. Because then I get the same thing. I get people who go over to my YouTube and they comment, are you not going live on your Facebook page anymore? And I'm like, I just can't win. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what you're going to need as far as your pieces. Like I said, for doing this first row, we're doing 8 of each color, cut to 12 inches, all of the pieces. And then what you're going to do is simply just put the ends together. I prefer to use zip ties. If you want to use rubber bands, you can use rubber bands. If you don't want to do anything and just want to use existing zip ties, you're welcome to do that. So I do about a thumb's width of a tail. And I'm just going to zip tie that nice and tight. Then remove the tie. Just like that. So I've done all of my green, 1.5 inches. For the red, we're just going to bring them together. Just go ahead and squish the end. If you want, you can hold it right where your thumb is, just so you know you have enough and it doesn't slide off. Now I'm doing backwards, so it's kind of throwing me off. But you can put your thumb there to make sure you have enough to go underneath. That's all you're going to have to do. And you'll prep all of your pieces depending upon how you want to place those on the board. So I'm going to do the last, I think I saved a couple pieces so that I could demo how you put the ribbons together. I already did all my 2.5-inch ones because I was playing with the combos beforehand. So there's 2, and I have 2 more left to finish. I was doing it so crazy, so quick. Hi, Rebecca. You're new here. Where are you from? So again, I'm just using 6-inch zip ties. I have 4-inch, but I think my hubby took them because I was telling him I don't really use them. So if you can use them, feel free. So I couldn't find my smaller ones. I would use the 4-inch ones just for this because you don't need an awful lot. And like I said, I prefer to use zip ties just because of weather. These have a tendency of holding up better. For me, the rubber bands break easy. So this just gives me extra security, which makes me feel comfortable when the product leaves me. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead, before we load the board, we're going to add a hanger. And on the Unique in the Creek board, it's designated at the top where the numbers are, where we're going to go ahead and add a hanger. So I'm just using this ribbon. It's like the braided cord ribbon. And this was from Joann's. I'm so sad that Joann's isn't there anymore. I'm going to go down and then up with this to make my hanger, because I want the knot to be on the other side. And this is wired. And before I go ahead and cut that, because I don't want it to unwind, a very nice lady at Joann's taught me this trick. She says, wherever you want to cut, just go ahead and tape it right there, and then go ahead and cut it, and that'll keep both of your ends, so this does not unwind and this does not unwind. And then I'm going to go ahead and just do the basic knot here, just like so, making sure that, and I want it a little bit so that it hangs just past where the ribbon will end, and you'll see that here in a second. Let's put that away. Don't need our zip ties. Don't need the ribbon. So this ribbon and this ribbon are from Craft Outlet. This ribbon and this ribbon were both from Joann's. So it's easy if you put in your 2.5 inch first. So we're just going to alternate. So I am going to place my zip tie to where it is underneath the side. So if I'm going to fluff up later and I kind of pull on this, that zip tie is going to prevent that from coming all the way through. So we're just going to go through and do all the 2.5 first. So there's that. We won't really worry about fluffing until the end, because you're just going to flatten it each time you go and you add a different layer. Oop, didn't want to do that one. In between spaces. The thicker ribbon. There we go. Thicker ribbon goes underneath. So let me grab some more of these. So I can grab these from here underneath. So we're just doing, these would be the shared hold spaces. Janie, yes. So rubber bands will dry and break. And I mean, once they're under the zip ties, it's okay, but maybe I always overthink things, but I always want, you know, if people are paying money for it, I want them to last so that they can use them beyond just like 1 or 2 seasons. So depending upon where the customer's at, they might have, you know, warmer weather. Some people might have freezing cold temps. So again, I always overthink the process. But there's no right and wrong way to do that. However you want to secure them on is entirely up to you. So you can just see I'm alternating that gorgeous plaid, oops, from the regular. Okay, let's go ahead and place this one in here. Flipping that over. I like to make sure that my zip tie ends are facing up. There is that one. It goes really quick once you have all of your pieces assembled. But for me today, it was a nice quiet day. So I was just taking my time And I like these two colors, so I started doing these. And I'm like, oh no, what happens if I don't have anything that goes with those two? What will I do? Good thing there's always solids. I didn't want to go too crazy because we've got the Santa sign, and that's where my focus is. That's my focal point, is the Santa. So we're keeping him old school. Oh, Rebecca, you're in Montana? Ooh. In the mountainy parts of Montana? We had thought about Montana before we moved to Washington. I need the weather. I need a change in the weather. I spent 58 years living in California, and the last 20 years of it was living in the desert, which I loathed, but we did it because at the time my husband's parents lived in Havasu, and then all the kids kind of lived on the way into California. So we moved there, and then subsequently they retired, and they weren't going to travel anymore. So we were kind of stuck there for a while. Ooh. Trying to make sure I don't cut the other one. Okay, so there is our 2.5, all spread out, different colors. 2.5 inches, 12-inch pieces. Now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to lay in, I'm trying to picture, I don't think it'll matter. We're going to alternate now the 1.5-inch pieces. So these are going to actually sit a little bit on top of the existing colors. So let's grab all the colors. Here we go. Isn't that sign cute, Nancy? I love that sign too. I order it every year from Pam just to put it in a different design. So alternating the green with the plaid. So we're mixing this up and we're putting the pattern on the green now, and then leaving the red a little bit, or cranberry colored, a little bit subdued. So just keep going all the way around. It has a really beautiful effect at the very end. So once, like I said, you've got all your pieces done, you're just going to go in, and it just helps me to see them all. Okay, green, then red, then green, then red. Okay. And we need green. There are those over there. You would take the warm weather. I lived in the warm weather just way too much. I need a change in the seasons. I hated it there. I did it for my husband. Then our family, all of our parents and siblings lived there. And then slowly, bit by bit, of course, once we bought our house, then everybody moved away. And then we were kind of stuck for a while, just staying. The quality of the desert, the people that lived there, was really going downhill quickly. So we knew we needed to get out. It was nice when we first moved there in 2003, and by the time we finally left in 2022, it was not a good place to live. Okay, 1 and 1, and then this row is done. So like I said, you need 8 of each color to go all the way around row number 2. And then for the second row, we're just doing 2.5 inch. Okay, so like I said, these will all fold out. The 1.5 inches will sit up further than the 2.5s will. So they will elevate and it'll start to look really full, especially at the very, very end. But as you can tell, if I keep fluffing these, by the time I put the next row in, they're just going to get all smashed again. But I'll show you the look. The look is nice. So always make sure your 1.5 inches are up in front of. And if you can, use really good quality ribbon with really thick wires to them, because it just makes the fluffing process so much easier. Pull that up. So that is that row. Looks nice and pretty. Looks great on camera. So there's row number 1. I'm trying to figure out which one. It's this one. Looks a little odd. It's because it's under that. And you can move them around so that they fill in all the gap. But there's row number 1. Row number 2, you just need 4 of each color. So I am doing this. And let's see. I'm trying to be pretty precise. And if I can, I think that just kind of, they roll over. I was like, well, if I try to like put the plaid with the plaid, it's like, see what I'm saying? If I started there, they're all going to eventually get to that same point. So again, just alternate. I try to like mix them up a little bit, but no. Okay, over. And if you feel like you want to add even more ribbon, you can feel free to go in if you wanted to and do the shared holes in the center. Not necessary though. You will see by the time we get that final row of 16 in, it'll fill all the spaces in between. They kind of overlay on top of each other so that they have a really nice effect. And then we have our sign that's going in the center as well. So you all seem to like the photos of the one that I shared with the candy cane. That is still currently available in my shop at KatsCreationsNMore.com if you're interested. And then this one will be listed for those that like a little bit more of the traditional Christmas. Okay, last one. Going in here, and then I'm going to change up the rotation for the inside 16 because it's so predominantly green. I don't want to keep throwing more green on top. We are going to be alternating on the shared hole space. Let me see. I'm seeing, can I mix these up or will it too overlap? Let's see. If I do these, let's see what ends up happening. I'm going to start here so that I have these two opposite. And then we're going to go here. Again, I'm using the 2.5 inch ribbon on the wider shared hole space. I think that worked out. Just making that a conscious decision to make sure that the green went on top of the plaid. Okay. grabbing all the last pieces. Right over here. What do you guys think so far? You love these ribbon wreaths? Really, Irvina, you haven't gotten good sales? They're good because they're storm door compliant. They fit for people who love that storm door look. And I think because I only make 1 or 2 of them every year. So I just have them because a lot of people like that. They call it a very clean look. So again, doing my shared holes. The shared ones are the bigger gaps. 1 more of each. And so see how when I took the 2.5 inch, I paired them up so that we would have like complementary colors, one on top of the other. I don't know why my Mevo just, why is everything just being so weird today? Everything is just being weird. Okay, what is up with you today? Looks like my Mevo logged off. Technology and the challenges therein. It shows we're still live. Let's see. Double check here. Okay. Just had to plug my battery in. There we go. So again, that's how it's looking. And now what I'm going to do, because there's not a ton of red, I am just bringing the red in by itself in every single one of these. Because we have a lot of green going on. So rather than alternate, I am just going to bring all the red in. It was the same thing that I did on the candy cane. Because if I kept alternating it, it changes the layout of the look. And so you'll see bringing the red in is a really nice complement of the color with all the green being so wide. And again, we'll be doing the same thing. The 1.5 inch comes up on top of the 2.5 inch. Just spin it around. Always making sure when I put my pieces in, my zip ties are going in up the little ends where I'm clipping them off, because that helps give it that security to where I can pull to fluff it without worrying about pulling all my pieces out. Just like that. Up and up and spin. Okay, Kat, what did you do with the other piece? Did you come up a piece short? I thought I had pulled all of them. Let me look. Sometimes when I go to pull, I end up, I'm just making sure. I don't see it, so I'll just cut one, because we need 1 more piece. 12 inches. Right inside. I'll probably find that other piece when I'm all said and done. And then of course, I'm like, I put my zip ties away. Okay, last one in. 12 inches. Bring the ends together. Leave about a thumb's length of a tail. And then we're going to come in and tuck this in. I don't know why I didn't cut this one, but there we go. So when it is laying flat for the season, super simple. Lay it flat for the season. It stores so nicely. When you are ready to fluff, you are simply going to pick up your loops. So 1.5 inches first, you'll pull those up as you work your way through fluffing. Just like this. And then you'll go underneath and open your 2.5 inch, and those lay under your 1.5 inch pieces. But before we do that, we've got to put our sign in. So that's kind of what you do on the fluff side of things. Just kind of come in, give it some love, give it some life. We don't put wired ribbons in to let them lay nice and flat. And then you just keep fluffing and fluffing your board. And that's why I said it works out perfectly for a storm door, because it is not that thick. But now let's look at some options. So this 8-inch sign works perfectly. So it creates the perfect place to hide all your cosmetics and gives a great look. Some options for these. So let me look at what a 10-inch would do. So this is 8. This would be 10. So it really eats up a lot of your real estate on your ribbons going in. So you're wasting an awful lot. It also doesn't give you much room to fluff, because you would just have these little ends. So 8-inch is definitely the option you want. Let's see what else I had. I pulled out a couple other signs just to see if that would work. So this one is a, what are you? It is a 6x4. So if you wanted something a little bit smaller, you'd probably have to come in and do row number 5 to get rid of seeing all these tails. There's not enough coverage if you did something with a smaller sign. What else? Same thing here. It's another 6x4. I thought I had a bigger one. Let me look. Where did you go? I know I had one more. I did. It is in this bin. So this one's a little bit bigger. This one is an 8x8. So you could do something like that. And that would work out really well. So 8-inch. This is an 8x8 square. This is from Tractor Supply. It was last year. It just says the chickens were nestled, all snug in their beds, while visions of egg laying danced in their heads. So there's that. And I think, let's look at these. These are, they're 6x4.5 from Hobby Lobby. So again, we have coverage issues here. So greater than 6 inches, preferably anything in the 8-inch range, will work perfectly. So I'm going to show you how we're going to attach this. So number one, you want to remember, where'd you put your hanger? My hanger is over here. So we want to make sure that our sign is facing in the correct direction so that our hanger hangs straight. So depending upon the look you want for your Santa, if you want him slightly leaning back, you know, some people might want him a little bit different. You're going to need an adhesive cable tie, which looks like they're a little 1.5 inches, I think is mine, 1.25 inches by 1.25 inches. I get them from Lowe's. You can also order them off of Amazon. The problem being sometimes is the little foam backing that's on here is they have a tendency of just they don't weather well. So I'm going to pull this off and then I'm going to peel this backing off. Of course, now this one will be like, that one worked really, really good. Normally I can peel them all off in one swoop. And of course, this will be one that really, really works well. Looking for my tool. I really don't like. Wow, I cannot believe that is probably like the best adhesive cable tie I have ever had on here. Let's see, can I get these ones off better? Yeah, this one is. So that one, for whatever reason, was built the way it should be. But most of the time I can just take them and peel them off, and this is the reason why. I have made the Unique in the Creek scarecrow wreaths that had that you put on the cross forms, and sometimes in the weather, it, you know, the what you call it, extreme heat, extreme temperatures will make them fall off. I've had that happen on a couple of them, and I was paying attention before they ever went out. So no, they never went out to customers like that, but I was like, okay, we can't have that happen. So I'll show you what I ended up doing. And of course, now these all work really, really well. But most of the time, I was able to pull them completely off because there is a better adhesive. You could use E6000, like the Gorilla Glue, like Crazy Glue, and pair that with hot glue. Again, it's just putting things on metal with temperature. Metal's like a superconductor, so it either heats it up or it's going to make it super, super cold. So I like things that were designed to use outside in the weather. These were made to be used inside because they hold up the wires for cable runs, which is why you find them in the electrical section. So there's a product out there called 3M Auto Advanced number 2. So you know all the name brands of our car makers or the emblems on the side of the car. This is the tape that they use for that. So I prefer to, I'm just going to not use that piece that I pulled right off of here. And I'm just going to replace it with this tape instead. Just like that. I'm going to trim that to fit, because these were made to be outside in the weather. They go on our cars. So I don't know about you guys, I don't have my emblems falling off my vehicles. So you can E6000 this. You can, whatchamacallit, hot glue it. Now for the life of me, I can't get the paper backing off. There we go. Okay, here's the paper backing. So on the back of Santa, I'm going to just do it right here on top of Pam's sign. And I'm going to secure that with a little bit of glue. I know it's probably overkill. But then the nice thing too about this is if you wanted to change out the sign, you can change out the sign. So there's that. Let's not put that where I can slice my fingers off. Now we're going to get our pipe cleaner. And we'll just slide this through. It either goes vertically or horizontally. So I'm just going to bring those up, twist those, and those are going right in the center of our sign. Again, I'm just double checking. I'm pulling that forward just so that I can make sure my Santa sign's going right in there. So I kid you not, I'm putting them right in the center, just like that. I'm going to grab that on the other side and I'm going to pull Santa nice and snug. We're going to flip it over because we haven't fluffed it yet. Okay? And we're going to twist, twist, twist. And I'm going to twist leaning over towards one side more than the other. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Going to get my needle nose pliers and I'm going to bend that and tuck that back in the hole. Just like so. So now you can totally tell nothing on the back. It's all nice and clean, no sharp edges, no nothing. If you want to, you can add in, did I have them here? Did I not? It's odd. Normally I keep business cards in there. You could come in and you can tape or glue your business card right to the back, which I am going to do right in here, right over the hole, and then go ahead and press that down on all the sides. Hiding mechanics, right? Okay, flipping it back over. Now we fluff. So yes, Deborah says it looks like there are two greens side by side. So not like these side by side. They're always spread out. So again, we lift the 1.5 inches first, because remember that has to go up in between. You're probably thinking like there's some that go on top of each other, and that's fine. It's just the layout of the way that all the ribbons are configured. You don't want them way up in the air either. They're just meant to lay. Just elevate them. I'm always like, sometimes I have to come in, oops, and lay them back down underneath. So give them a nice little fluff. And then move to the second row. And those should go in between the others slightly. This is where if we have done it right, we should have that coordinating look here. Okay. Remember, we're just working the second row. Okay, I'm all fluffed here. Now I want to fluff my 1.5 inches, because remember our 2.5s go below. So just elevate your 1.5 inches, bring them up. It'll also give some leverage to some of your other ribbons. It'll give them some oomph. But these ones have to go up because they are in front of your 1.5 inches. And this is the way you're going to fluff it, so it goes on your door next year and looks just as great as all the others. Whoop. And here we go. And now you do the ones on the bottom. So those are going to come up just underneath your 1.5 inches. So make sure your 1.5 inches are on top of, but give them some love. You're seeing how it all is slowly coming together. You're giving it life. And you can move any of your ribbons around to create the desired look that you prefer. You might like them slightly adjusted one way or the other. What do you guys think so far? Santa looks so festive. You can even come in and put a little bit of holly on his hat. You can come in and you can add pine sprigs if you want to add pine in here as well. You can definitely do that. So many options, but sometimes simple is best. I think I've got a couple more left. I'm just like grabbing them by their fluffed loops and pulling them. Okay, there you go. You guys all ready to see him on the door? Let me spin him around so you can see him the way he should be. That is our finished look. I'm going to lift you up. We're going to swap him out on the door. Okay. Well, that was quick, huh? There we go. All right. We'll take this one off. So these, again, are both great for storm doors. You can swap them out, but this is perfect. I believe the finished, I'll give it to you real quick. Let me get my tape measure out. Where'd you go? End to end, we are roughly at about 20 inches. And then depth-wise, oh, it's going to be hard to do. Right at like 3 inches. Again, depending upon how far you fluff your ribbons up and out. But that is it. Super simple. Did you guys think that it was a lot harder because it looks different? Kim, all the ribbon is 12 inches long. Oh, thank you, Deborah, for your stars. The size ribbon, 2 rolls of 2.5 inches, cut to 12. All the ribbon is cut to 12 inches. So I used the green and this 1.5 inches. And then I alternated using the embossed ribbon with the Christmas plaid. So it just depends, like I said, on your individual look, what you prefer, what you like. Like I said, you can come in, you could add pine in here if you wanted to. You could add holly, like little sprigs of holly around the wreath. You can tuck in some pine branches if you want, but this is a perfect design, again, for clients with storm doors. And sometimes we forget about that when we're making all the big fluffy stuff, because storm door people want that too, but they have a very small, narrow margin between 3 and 4 inches where their wreaths have to be able to fit. So there is that. You see, yes, Elizabeth, she's like, I see you have more ribbon angels on your Christmas tree. Yes, I made the holly angel today, and I made this one, and believe it or not, there is one more. Why am I not seeing it? Did I hide it? I had, oh, she did. She fell. And then I have this one. So this is like my little country ribbon angel. So yeah, she must have fallen off the tree when I close the door. But yeah, ribbon angels, like I said, I'm making these to go in all my holiday orders for all the, they're like little thank you gifts to my clients. Just something simple and something that they can add to their holiday tree. But yeah, my goal is to fill the whole tree full of them, just different ribbon combinations. So that's what I was doing, sitting out here, just waiting. All right, have you done any for a door with a peephole? No, but I guess it would just depend on where your peephole is in relation to where your wreath hangs. Oh, thank you. Yeah, they would be cute on an angel tree. Yes, the kind where you buy a gift for a child. That would be, huh, Cheryl? I might take some to the post office because that's where all of ours are, and put them on there and see if they would do that. That would be a nice way of giving back to somebody who's going to purchase a gift for a child. That is a really great idea. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend. I'll see you in November, which is next week. Hard to believe that October is already gone and we're rolling into November. All right, take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.